Today we're going to be checking out the brand new Hugo Boss Bottled Beyond. Kind of a bottle redesign on this one, which I'm looking forward to seeing in person. And I'm also excited to see what direction they take this one because, you know, at least from my perspective, they kind of have some big shoes to fill coming after Boss Bottled Elixir and especially Boss Bottled Absolute. Two of what very well could be a couple of their best releases within the entire lineup. So we'll see how this one holds up. I have a feeling, given that it looks to be more of a fresher leaning scent, it's not going to be in that same category, but maybe it'll still be something a bit unique that we can kind of dig into, and maybe it'll be something that is kind of maybe moving off the trend of what we're used to smelling nowadays. So here is the bottle, and it looks really, really cool. You'll notice some differences right away, mainly being that the base down here is a little bit more pronounced. You've got kind of a, I don't know what you would call that, almost a fake leather looking wrap around the cap. Well, actually not the cap, around the collar, as you can see right there with the Boss logo on that. Here's our cap, just a press fit cap. As far as the coloration goes, nothing crazy here, just kind of a gray to clear gradient. And that's really about it for the presentation. Looks pretty cool. This is a 100 ml bottle, eau de parfum concentration. Let's go ahead and give this one a spray and we'll see where we're at with it. So I could definitely say that this is not what I was expecting, and in a good way. So what I was worried about was that this was going to be kind of you know, either a YSL myself type of smell, or, you know, even beyond that, just kind of the more so a common smell of an ambery sage blue fragrance type. That's kind of in the back of my mind what I was expecting with this one, just because that is such a common smell right now. Luckily though, that is not the case. So no doubt this one is fresh and spicy right off the rip. Very kind of, it has this peppery nature to it. It's kind of focusing in on this clean, fresh lavender smell. A lot of woods going on as well. What you're not getting are any sort of sweet notes, you know, so no tonka, vanilla, anything like that, very common. You're also not getting a lot of ambroxan, amberwood, that sort of style either. This one's more in the category of a clean, fresh, soapy type of scent off the opening here. Now, what I would definitely say is that coming from Boss Bottled Absolute, Boss Bottled Elixir, this one is going to look and smell inferior. You know, I just want to manage your expectations right now, because I think a lot of us in the community have been so impressed with those two prior releases, where now when you go over to something like this, it feels like they're taking a step backwards a little bit. And that is one way to look at it, and that's a fair assumption, or that's a fair belief to have. But on the other end of things, you know, Boss Bottled Elixir kind of started that movement into something a bit different. Boss Bottled Absolute basically took that Boss Bottled Elixir smell and added on top of it and made it a bit better. You know, I wouldn't really want them or expect them to continue building off of that type of DNA either, because then you're going to run into a redundancy issue with that as well. So what I think they're doing with Boss Bottled Beyond is kind of going for a little bit of a reset, you know, kind of getting us back into something that's a little bit more fresh, aromatic, but also more of a common smell that I think would appeal to more people, is probably the idea that they had, because there's no doubt that Boss Bottled Elixir, Boss Bottled Absolute, you know, they're not the same level of mainstream mass appeal that a lot of people would be looking for and shopping for in general. So we'll take a look at the note breakdown here. There isn't a whole lot to look at, but up top we have ginger, in the mid we have leather, in the base we have woods. So definitely giving you a good idea, but again, there are some key things missing. I'm getting a peppery smell, no doubt. I'm getting a fresh and kind of aromatic lavender. Now, the aromatic smell from this one, again, is not coming from the same type of sage, juniper berry, geranium mintiness that we're getting from a lot of common scents these days. It's more so just coming from a lavender smell, a bit of a musky soapiness as well. As far as leather is concerned, yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that. and a lot of woods, no doubt. Some of that pepperiness, I guess, could be coming from the ginger, but I think it'd be safe to assume that there's a little bit of a black pepper in here as well. This one does kind of have a cooling smell to it. It's kind of cooling, refreshing, soapy, but then also woody, spicy, and aromatic as well. Definitely heavily into the fresh, spicy category, which is going to give this one supreme versatility, whereas something like Boss Bottled Absolute and Elixir going to be more for your fall and winter usage. This one I could see more as an all year round type of scent. You know, it's going to have more of a mass appealing type of versatile smell to it in general. As far as what this is reminding me of in terms of, comparing it to other scents, nothing in particular, okay? So, nothing screaming out at me and being like, oh, it smells just like this particular scent. Again, it's a fresh, spicy, it's something that is not completely against the grain. It's a step in the right direction of being a little bit different, but it's still nothing outrageously unique. So it might give you the feeling that you've smelled something like it before, but it might just be hard to put your finger on exactly what it is. Probably because it's just, probably borrowing some ideas from a lot of other popular fresh, spicy scents. When you look at what people are saying this reminds them of, there's Ganymede, which I don't really think so. We have, what is this, the original Boss Bottled? Which I definitely don't think so. We've got a few things I've never smelled before. Gucci Pour Homme 2. That would be cool. I'm not getting any tea really, and that's kind of the key thing about Gucci Pour Homme 2. And then Boss Bottled, was that Tonic? No. We got Paco Rabanne Phantom and Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense and Gucci Pour Homme 1, which is kind of an interesting one. Prada L'Homme Intense. There's a bunch of random stuff in here. Again, it's definitely not that cut and dry at all. I'm not really getting any comparisons to any of those really. So I guess that's kind of a good thing. This one retails for about $155. That's probably not something I would be in a big hurry to pay, as far as knowing the fact that you can get these generally on discounters for around $100, it might be worth holding out until then for a lot of you guys. This one does smell clean. It smells fresh. It smells great, but I do think it might fall just a little bit flat. There's nothing about this one so far anyways that's really, overly exciting. And at the end of the day, that's fine. We have Boss Bottled Elixir, Absolute. Those are great. They're highly coveted at this point, and they're reasonably priced. This is kind of getting them back on track to appeal to a broader audience, and that's kind of a bit what I was expecting going into it anyway. Like I mentioned already, I was expecting it to be falling into that YSL Myself DNA or that YSL Y DNA, because they really haven't done anything like that in the Boss Bottled lineup yet. And I was thinking maybe this would be that, which I'm glad that it's not, but at the same time, it's still not overly exciting either. What I do like about it, and I touched on it once briefly, is that cooling smell. Almost like a menthol cooling smell that you really pick up on and can feel. And I've talked about before that PDM latent type of feeling when you smell it. This has a bit of that as well, almost this menthol. So that's kind of cool. Again, this is something that does smell really nice. It is going to be a great mass-pleasing compliment puller, of course, but there's a lot of those out there already. This is an eau de parfum concentration, like I mentioned at the beginning, so time will tell in terms of how this performs. It would change things if this was just a beast mode scent. I'm not really thinking that that's going to be the case, I did a few good sprays on my hand, and it's been 10 minutes, and not like that matters, and it hasn't really faded off too much yet, but it's not jumping out at me with super strong projection. I'm having to bring my hand up more so to get a good smell of it. So I feel like projection is going to be on the softer side. Longevity is what I would be really curious about, but we just won't know until I can wear it more. My guess is it's not going to be anything crazy to write home about, so that does kind of suck. If you could get a good 6, 7, 8 hours out of this, hey, that would be good, but I don't expect to get some 10, 12 hour performance out of this one really, but we'll see. Other than that, that's kind of my basic thoughts on Boss Bottled Beyond. Not a whole lot to this one to really break down. Again, this is only a first impressions, and maybe it will change a lot as it dries down more. But so far, about 11 minutes in, you know, it's kind of about where it's at. It's a fresh, spicy kind of leather scent. The leather is not too strong. It's definitely not earthy or animalic. It is a very, very fresh and mild, subdued leather, if anything. So nothing crazy there either. I'll drop a link to this one down below. It's only full retail right now, but if you did want to pick it up, I'll link it up for you. I also want to point you over to my community tab if you want to be able to get any great fragrance deals, any discontinued fragrances, all that stuff. I post it over there, and I also send out emails as well to my mailing list, which is completely free to sign up to if you hit that first link down below. Anything from stuff like Dolce & Gabbana The One Grey, Jean Paul Gaultier Les Beaux Male 2013, Dior Homme Parfum testers, all this stuff are things that I posted about recently and helped you guys to be able to grab bottles of, which is pretty cool because there are so many amazing discontinued fragrances that are hard to get otherwise. So I'm doing all of the hard work finding this stuff, and all you got to do is just follow that community tab, sign up to my mailing list, and you can take advantage of the deals as you see fit. Let me know your thoughts on Boss Bottled Beyond down below if you've tried it yet, and if you haven't tried it, do you plan on it? That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.